Where Nothing Bleeds by Interstellarism on AO3. Episode 9, Chapter 9, Collision. An alien baby shower. Now that was something worth crossing out of his bucket list. Simon had no idea what to wear. No, wait, Rocky would never forgive him if he said that. Eridian engineers figured out how to replicate human fabrics ages ago using Erid fibers. He could ask this Eridian-made 3D printer to make anything, and it would do it. He had no fashion sense. That was more like it. It was a baby shower. What the hell do you wear to an alien baby shower? Armando? Simon grunts, frowning at the screen. Yes, Simon? The computer asks, arms floating beside him. What on earth am I going to wear to this thing? He'd asked Ryland, but he'd been cooped up in his office all day, returning there after telling him that he'd be going to a baby shower. He didn't even know Eridians could simply reproduce with any other Eridian, so that took a while to process. There is no dress code for Eridian baby shower in our database. Would you like me to show examples of Earth dress codes instead? Simon sighs. Sure. He might end up letting Armando choose, honestly. He ends up sitting back, letting examples of clothing styles pop up on the screen. He'd look terrible in a suit. No, a tux. Why? No. No, no, oh God. He wouldn't wear that color, even if it meant dying again. For a moment, he catches himself. Kids back on Eden didn't really get to choose the clothes they got. They got hand-me-downs from the people before them. People who would either sick or dead. Maybe he should be a bit more grateful. Don't overthink it. He settles on a black blazer with a white undershirt, some black pants and shoes. Nothing too fancy or suffocating, but not too casual either. He faces himself in the mirror and frowns. Jesus. His hair looked like a mop on his head. He showered earlier today, but he did a terrible job at brushing it. He huffs and grabs a comb, running it through his hair, brushing the knots out. It didn't look good. He wonders if he could do something with it. Armando, do you got any elastics? He's outside now, stood in front of the beach, surrounded by a few dozen Eridians all wearing their suits. A few of them ran up to him earlier, eager to test their English comprehension skills by talking to him. He humored them, but his Eridian was still pretty much hopeless. They all still sounded like whale songs or musical notes. He doesn't know how Ryland understands them so seamlessly. Maybe he'll get naturally better at it with time. Speaking of, where was he? He looks up at the small cliff where their home was situated. The light was still on in his office. And just on cue, the door opens. Sorry, I'm here. Just had to do things. Oh. Wow. Ryland is well dressed. He's really nicely dressed. He's wearing a fitted shirt with clean, dark sleeves rolled just enough to expose his thick forearms. Sometimes he forgets that Ryland was naturally well built, until it reminds him visibly. His hair still a little messy, which Simon thought suited him anyways. He has that soft look in his eyes as he walks forward, clearly eager to see him. That, and he had that stubble. He could see a bit of white in some of his beard hair, which also made him look insanely good. What the hell? Ryland jogs down the slight incline towards the beach, waving awkwardly at the Eridians as they chirp and trill in greeting, completely unaware of the effects he's having. Simon just stares. Earlier his eyes had sunken from the lack of sleep, as he helped Simon work through his problems. It looked like it wore him down more than it did Simon, really. It's in moments like this that Simon's reminded of the kind of endurance Ryland Grace had, more than just the physical kind. It makes Simon feel the gap between them. Ryland carries himself with confidence, even if he doesn't outwardly display it. He's someone who's already figured out how to exist in the world. Simon's still learning and reacting to all sorts of new experiences. Sometimes he feels like it's his first time being alive, still trying to keep up with things that never gave him the time to grow into them properly. Sometimes, standing next to him, Simon feels younger than he is, almost embarrassingly so. Like there's something unpolished about him that Ryland can see right through. The thought of it unnerves him, but Ryland never gave him reason to feel ashamed for it. Ryland never makes him feel small. The blonde slows when he gets closer, catching his breath slightly, flashing that easy, slightly sheepish smile like he didn't just... Hey, Sai. Ryland smiles. You look great. Put your hair up, huh? Suddenly, feeling horrifically self-conscious about his hair, he looks away. Yeah. It looks really good. He fidgets uncomfortably, before he lifts his gaze up to see him again. You look good too. God, he's 27. He's handled worse than this. Way worse. He's been thrown into a death mission, survived things that shouldn't be survivable, stared down a millennial-old century creature, and somehow this was the most daunting thing he's ever done. He was just a guy, an older guy, a really good looking older guy who happened to be his dearest friend and someone he feels very strongly for. He hasn't stopped thinking about their hug since the day it happened. How Ryland held him, how he cupped the back of his head, how his fingers sunk into his hair. Simon shifts his weight slightly, crossing his arms. Ryland tilts his head a little, steadying him. You okay? Simon pauses. Yeah, he says finally, voice a little rougher than he intends. Just didn't expect you to, uh... He gestures vaguely. Ryland glances down at himself, confused. Dress like a normal person? Simon huffs out a short laugh despite himself. Something like that. The blonde laughs. Yeah, well, Rocky insisted that we wear something different for the occasion. I swear, he could be such a diva sometimes. He chuckles, shaking his head, looking around at some of the Eridians, who were all making eager trill noises. He hears the trilling get louder, and they both turn around. There was Rocky, walking in with another Eridian. The other one looked like him, but bigger, and their carapace was a deep emerald green instead of Rocky's earthy brown. Ryland nudges his shoulder. That's Adrian, his mate. His eyes widen with recollection. Right. Rocky had a mate, and judging by the way he was nuzzling against him, Rocky really loved his mate. Adrian seemed to love him just as much, too, judging by how they stand guard around Rocky, while the latter bounds around, uninhibited. Eridian body language was easier to decipher than their language. Is that why he's been so insistent on him and Ryland mating? Did Rocky want him to experience that? Eridian love seemed so straightforward. Nothing like human relationships. Rock! Ryland greets, walking towards the pair. Rocky notices instantly, bouncing over to Grace like he was his second mate. Getting sand everywhere. Ryland laughs and bends down to give him what looks like a hug, with Rocky's body leaning up to meet Ryland's. Ryland hugs him very briefly. The suit itself was still pretty hot. Simon, friend! Rocky exclaims up at him. Simon raises a fist. Rocky eagerly walks up to him and lets their fists touch. "Fist my bump." Looking up at Ryland for clarification. "He still says it like that." "What the hell?" "Sure. Fist my bump. When in Rome." Rocky seemed delighted. He returned back to Adrian and bounced circles around them. Her? Him? Ryland said that the Eridians chose the voices they liked for the suit's built-in translator, but that didn't necessarily determine what their gender was. What with their species having no fixed sex at all. And Ryland chose the name Adrian, which was already gender neutral. Adrian approaches the two of them. Ryland smiles. "Hey, Adrian." "Grace." That computerized voice was much deeper than he expected. Adrian chose a male voice, it seemed. Probably because the musical notes Adrian was making sounded much slower and deeper than Rocky's trilled and trips. Should he use he for Adrian then? Technically, it didn't matter what he used. Maybe he'll just keep using they for Adrian, and he for Rocky, since that's what Ryland does. Adrian turns to Simon. "Simon." "Adrian. Good to meet you." Ryland seemed to absolutely glow at the sight of the two meeting. "Congratulations on the baby, Adrian. Took you guys long enough. How long have you wanted a family together?" Ryland asked. Adrian bends down a little, like they were lowering their head. "Long time. 100 years now. I had to wait for Rocky for 50. Simon didn't know about that part. He knew Adrian had to wait for Rocky to come back from Tau Ceti, but 100 years? That's a long time. Simon murmurs. Very long. Adrian confirms. He forgets that Eridians have insane hearing, and they could hear every murmur he made. When Blip A was sent into space, Eridian scientists were still in contact with ship's life support systems. Other 23 Eridians on board also had mates. We saw a population of ships slowly die in real time, but we did not know who was dead and who was not. I was the one who designed ship life support system. Did not expect to fail. Jesus. Having to be aware that your mate was out there, and not even knowing if he was dead or alive, Simon couldn't imagine how that must have felt. He hears Ryland's voice tremble beside him. That must have been torturous. I'm really sorry. Ryland murmurs, hugging his arms around his torso. A habit Ryland had, he noticed. When he was experiencing something particularly troublesome, he'd curl into himself. Reminds him of a cat. It's okay. Grace teach Eridian sciences about radiation and relativity, so we will not make the same mistake. Because of that, we are very grateful. You saved my mate's life. He saved mine, and my planet's. I was just returning the favor. Whatever you want, Grace friend, I will give. You are hero of Eridians. We will never forget it. And it uses what you call X-ray to see blood? Yeah. One blast of extreme exposure to it could kill a human in hours. Ryland already taught you guys about radiation. It did not affect you? Question. I don't know. Maybe it did. They didn't really care, though. I was gonna die in that submarine anyways. Getting cancer was the least of my worries. Simon somehow found himself in deep conversation with Adrian, an hour or so later. Rocky had gotten distracted, going off with Grace to play with some other Eridian kids and adults that were invited. Apparently, a lot of them were deeply fascinated by the simulation Earth Dome, especially the water. He could hear them splashing around in the near distance, alongside Grace's laughter and Constance, Rocky, Rocky, no, I can't swim. From a distance, it looked like they were bullying him. Maybe they were. Ryland seems to be enjoying it either way. Adrian had been deeply interested in Simon's story. They fixed it less on the horror of it. Think, fuck, he did not want to talk about that. And more on the engineering. The SM-13 structure, its material tolerance, the integrity of the pressure hold, the way it maintained internal life support under such extreme conditions, how Simon had managed to navigate throughout a fluid medium that was so dense. After all, it was an ocean with completely different voracity, buoyancy, and light absorption properties than water. And he did it all on his own. Adrian was an expert engineer, much like Rocky. They had overseen a significant portion of the dorm's construction, designing its structural framework, collaborating its environmental control systems, and maintaining equilibrium across the entire space. Temperature glands in the water and air, atmosphere composures, humidity levels, thermal regulations, all of it was constantly monitored and adjusted by Adrian. It was no wonder Rocky was obsessed with them. They had also designed the wave generator, which was a rotating mechanical system positioned beneath the ocean's surface, using controlled angular moments and displacement to simulate tide motion. He listened to Adrian explain it. The oxalate params helped maintain fluid circulation, along with replicating the dynamic conditions of Earth's coastal environment as closely as possible. To Simon, it just looked like a beach. Grace, and your hypothesis was that the creature from your world evolved after phage? Aphage. Not creative name. Ryland named it, not me. Hmm. You accept his hypothesis question? Yeah, he was smart enough to figure it out all on his own. Grace very smart, but not what I mean. I mean, does his hypothesis bring you peace? Question. Oh, he hadn't thought of it like that. Did knowing about the truth of the quiet rapture bring him peace? Did it help him sleep better at night now that he understood where the creature came from? No. No, it doesn't really change anything, but your will to live was stronger than its will to kill you. I think you saved yourself. It gave him some sort of validation that all of it wasn't for nothing. Ryland, he made me learn that there was nothing wrong in believing in hope, even in the most impossible situations. Hope is very strong. Eridian word is. It is a way of life for many Eridians. He could imagine. Ryland told him that Eridians live a maximum of 700 years. 7 centuries of living. Hope would have to be strong. Because what else could hold you through that kind of time? Humans barely made it to 100 on a good day, and even then most of them spent it rushing, racing against the 24 hours on the clock, trying to make everything of a life that always felt too short. Everything was always so urgent, and the time was always running out. Humans had always been in a rush since the dawn of times, but Eridians. Simon wonders what that does to a person, what it would feel like to exist without the constant pressure, to believe fully that things could get better. And not just someday, but within a lifetime long enough that you'd get to experience it. His gaze drifts, almost unconsciously, back to Ryland. He was laughing on the beach, outfit half ruined from Rocky splashing him repeatedly, hair matted to his forehead. Yeah, he can imagine. Ryland gave Earth that future. Those children he used to teach could actually experience the revival of the sun within their lifetime. Ryland kept saying he doesn't know if the beetles made it to Earth or not. But Simon knew. Deep down, he just knew that Ryland's mission wasn't in vain. Why you call him Ryland? Question. Simon looks up. Huh? Rocky told me Grace preferred Grace as name, not Ryland. But you call him Ryland. He didn't even think of that. Oh, it's because Grace is his last name. Uh, on Earth, if you were close to someone, you usually use their first name. It's called first name basis. What is Simon's last name? Question. I don't know. It's just Simon. What did people call you before? Question. You sent me here to die and you don't even know my name? Answer me. Tell me my name. Convict. What mean? Means prisoner. Oh. The waves crash against his feet. I do not need to know what you did. You are on Erid now. The sins of your past does not reflect your future. Remember what I say about hope? The wait for Blip A's return is very breaking. Many Eridian mate of crew member become sick from dying. I keep working because I knew Rocky was alive. Believed it. Gave myself no choice. The translator didn't have a word for the other registry. Thankfully, Adrian notices. Core. Heart. What keep Eridian alive. Very closely tied to mate. If mate die, we feel. We hurt. But I did not believe Rocky was dead, even if everyone told me he was. Eridians live many, many years, but we mate for life. Human life very short, only the lifespan of Eridian toddler. He doesn't know when he started tearing up, but he was. It's a pretty pathetic lifespan compared to you guys. Disagree, Adrian says. Simon lets out a weak breath, shaking his head. You don't have to. Disagree. Adrian repeats, firmer this time. Short duration does not equal low value. Simon goes quiet. Eridian lifespan is long, yes. 700 years average. A long time changes optimization, not worth. Humans operate under high time constraint, produce different behaviors. Faster decision making leads to higher emotional intensity, greater willingness to take risk. Simon blinks. Risks. He echoes. Yes. Eridian plan long time. We avoid unnecessary danger because recovery time is long. Humans, a soft trill comes from their carapace. Humans sacrifice for outcomes they may never see. Simon's throat tightens. Both him and Grace knew they might never see Earth again, and yet you survive extreme environment. You endure pain and limited data. Still continue forward. This is adaptation to short lifespan. High pressure system creates strong output. Simon huffs out something that almost sounds like a laugh, wiping at his face. That's one way to put it. Question? Simon exhales. Yeah? You have strong emotional response when observing Ryland Grace. Simon chokes on air. Right? You exhibit increased heart rate prolonged visual fixation, and behavioral hesitation in proximity. Adrian continues calmly. Consistent pattern. Ryland Grace also have pattern. Simon looks away immediately. Okay, you're exactly like your mate. I hope you know that. Follow-up. Adrian says, undeterred. Why have you not communicated this to him? Simon lets out a strained laugh. Because that's not exactly simple. Clarify. He drags a hand over his face. It's just isn't. There's timing and context and. Gesturing vaguely, frustrated. It's complicated. Humans live very short lifespan. Yeah, we just talked about that. Point is, time is scarce resource. You assign high value to it, and do high-risk things like send ship to Talceti. But you also delay actions on high-value outcomes. Simon swallows. That's not how it... Is it risk unacceptable? Question? Adrian asks. Potential loss greater than potential gain? Simon doesn't answer. Because he doesn't have one. If humans are defined by intensity, holding expressions of significant emotion state is inefficient use of limited time. Adrian turns to the ocean. You do not have 700 years to optimize decision. Simon exhales slowly, gaze dropping to the sand. Yeah. He murmurs. Both him and Grace were here, alive. But that didn't mean they were immortal. He knew about Erid's gravity, and that no matter how much they tried to optimize it, it was still stronger than Earth's. Sooner or later, their bones wouldn't be able to take the strain of it. They'd probably age faster than whatever estimate the Eridians had. Adrian tilts their head again. Recommendation is act now. Simon huffs out a quiet, disbelieving laugh, despite himself. Adrian tilts his head. Statement indeed to be helpful? It was. This has been one long fanfiction. Or not fanfiction, chapter. And it's still not over. There's gonna still be another episode with the remaining part of this chapter. I'm just lulling it here because it's already nearing my limit, which is, I think, my limit is like 30 to 35. 35 is really pushing it though. But that's my new limit. That's my limit. That's my limit, guys. Anything more than 30, I'm like, nah, no, no. I'm trying to see. The fanfiction that is going to take over this one is going to be another Bloody Mary fanfiction. It's one that's recommended by a commenter. Shadow Milk Cookie 0 commented that this is their, most favorite Bloody Mary fanfiction. And I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. Oh, I forgot that they asked if they wanted to do the cover art. Oh my god, you know what? I already made a cover art for it. But I'm like, you know what? Sure. Because, the cover art I made for it could go for literally any other Bloody Mary fanfictions, if I'm being honest. It's very typical. I have not read this other one. Mainly because I'm going to trust in my raindrop here that they will not lead me astray and that it's a good fanfiction. But yeah, I'm so excited that I got this one approved so quick. Sorry, I was typing there. This chapter was really cool. It's really cute. I really love this. I really love, the whole Adrian and Simon being friends while, best friends. Don't get me wrong, Simon's still friends with Rocky in most fanfictions and stuff like that, and I do like that as well. But I like that he's, closer to Adrian. Like, Adrian is his best friend. While, with Grace, with Ryland, Rocky is his best friend, like, he's still friends with Adrian and still talks with Adrian, but he's closer with Rocky. You get what I mean? Like, I love that so much. I love fanfictions that implement that. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. It was very fun to introduce the musical notes. I think there was another part where there was musical notes needed, but I'm like, no. It's about to be 1 a.m. No. I'll do that later. When I re-podfic this. Because I do plan on re-podficking all my fanfictions, but with voice actors. And once I do that one's going to be really fun. I'm going to have a lot of fun casting a bunch of people for a bunch of things and stuff like that. For now, I'm only focusing on one fanfiction. And then I'll look through all my fanfictions and see which one I'm going to redo. Right now, I'm focusing on one specifically, and it's one recommended, not recommended, but asked of me by my kid. So obviously I'm going to do that because my son is priority. I don't have much to say, so as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.